Yeah, let's watch the performance and see, to what degree of boxing, he really belongs in. I don't like to really say one thing or another before the performance when it comes to somebody being completely out of their depth. But when you look at the statistics, which is where this question is based off of, when you look at the statistics of what he's done in boxing and what I've done in boxing, I mean, it's almost the gap of the ocean between us and America, right? So that's where it comes down to. But fighters are fighters. Tough guys are tough guys. And that's how I view Brock Jarvis, as a tough guy, somebody who's going to come, bring it, train hard, fight hard, get on the inside, try to land his power shots, try to be the dominant force. Is that game plan going to work out for him? I don't know. The world is saying, who is Keith Thurman? What is Keith Thurman at this stage of my career? 36 years old, 3-year layoff, and then there was a 2.5-year layoff before I fought Mario Barrios. So I've had like one fight in, from 2019 to date, I've had like 2 fights, so there's a lot of inactivity, unfortunate for me in my career. So people are wondering, the bicep injury, what does Thurman have left? What is he going to bring? What is he going to look like? And that's why we had this proposal against Brock. And I said, I'm not getting any other proposals. I want to get off my butt after the injury recovered. I just want to get off my butt, get in shape, lose weight, see my six pack once again, and come out here, have a beautiful holiday vacation, and showcase my skills and my talent to the Aussie fans, and hopefully, potentially, run back what was on the books last year, which is maybe getting Tim Tszyu in the ring.
Do you sort of see this fight as a bit of a test the body out, get a good win, feel good again, and then sort of go for that Tim Tszyu fight? And would Brock Jarvis say perhaps you're overlooking him with that sort of mindset?
I mean, let's be honest. I've done great things in boxing, and fighting Brock Jarvis isn't one of them. So I have to, it's not that I have to overlook him, but I have to give myself something to be excited about. And so what I'm excited about is not the one fight, but the plethora of fights that I potentially can have this year. So everything is a potentiality. Right now, Brock Jarvis is the reality that I've been training for, been prepping for, and I'm about to be getting in the ring with. So, but I didn't wake up every morning, oh, here, Thurman versus Brock, here we go. Oh, I can't believe I get to go to Australia and fight Brock Jarvis. This is the most exciting and wonderful thing that's ever happened in my career. I can't wake up. I don't lie to myself when I wake up. I don't know if you lie to yourself, The only thing is I have to tell myself I'm beautiful every day, But besides that, at the end of the day, I just want to be back doing what I do in boxing, which is showcasing my skills, my talent, getting people like you interested, and getting the fans interested, creating the hype behind Keith Thurman, what Keith Thurman has done. And like I said, it's unfortunate. We just have to keep saying, I've done this, I've done that, I haven't done this, I haven't done that, I've been inactive. So let's get active. That's what it's really all about. And so my excitement isn't geared over the name Brock Jarvis. My excitement is geared about getting back in the ring, getting back in the sport of boxing, back into these conversations right here. This is why you like Keith Thurman, because Keith Thurman boxes. You're not trying to just go have coffee and sit down and do a yoga class with Keith Thurman. You want Keith Thurman to punch somebody in the face. And that's what I came over here to do.
Just want to ask you on Tim Tszyu. He's scheduled to fight Joey Spencer next month.
Yes.
Thoughts on that fight, and also looking back at that Buckram fight. Why do you think Tim lost that fight? Was it mindset? Was it ability? What did you see in that fight?
So, interestingly, I was the commentator in Orlando for the Buckram fight, and because of that, I got to talk to Tim Tszyu the week of the fight, early in the week, and I interviewed all the fighters, and Buckram's team was very adamant that Tim Tszyu just has a style that's made for Buckram. And they weren't overlooking him. They were just saying that the way Tim Tszyu fights, that there are things that they can exploit, and that Bakram really is going to bring it, that he's a solid champion, that he's been avoided, that he's more dangerous than people have been giving him credit for. Now, they were trying to say that earlier in the year before Tim Tszyu lost to the replacement that Fundora, when I had to pull out of the fight. And that fight was like an unfortunate event. So it makes you kind of say, like, did Tim Tszyu like really lose, or did he lose according to circumstances? And so when you say that you lost according to circumstances, then that means that the way you fight is good enough and you don't have to change anything. I think after his loss, his team just said, "You're good as you are, champ. That was very unfortunate. You don't have to change anything." And I think they underestimated what the world of boxing is like in the States when you're trying to fight the best in the world. He came off of his first career loss. What's the rush of fighting the next great champion? Where's the rush? So I think his team did a poor job of matchmaking. I don't think it was necessary, because what we saw in the U.S., even though Tim Tszyu lost, we saw a bloodbath. We saw the warrior move forward and fight and do his best, which was very entertaining for somebody who lost. It's not very often that you can get the credibility of having an entertaining loss. I had an entertaining loss against Manny Pacquiao. So that already means that you're a certain kind of caliber fighter, that whether you win or you lose, people are going to want to see you. So his team could have just had a regular fight that allows to showcase Tim Tszyu's skill so he can have his first W in America. But they rushed into becoming they were just world champion. They lost the world title, and they rushed to being world champions again. The other takeaway for me when I gave him an interview was Tim Tszyu was training way before the fight. He had the longest training camp I've ever heard of in the history of boxing. And I've told him I know champions who have done 12 weeks of preparation, 10 weeks, 11 weeks, 12 weeks. His preparation time was way over 12 weeks. And I asked him what was the basis of this. And he said, "Oh, well, we were just kind of getting ready for a certain date, and then that date didn't happen. So we just stayed in the gym, and we stayed in the gym, and we stayed active. We were going light, but, eventually we picked it up, and then we had a really hard, tough, I forget if he said 7 or approximately 8 weeks, And it was weird, because if you've been in the gym this whole time and then you're going to just go 7 hard weeks, 8 hard weeks, like you could just rest a little bit. And, there is a thing known in sports as overtraining. Overtraining, I thought, was a myth. I heard about it for many years. There was a specific camp in my career where my energy levels went really low. I was training really hard. I called my nutritionist and my doctor, and he said, "Keith, after talking to you, I looked up articles because I couldn't get you out of my head." And he says, "I'm 90-something% sure that all your symptoms are due to overtraining." He said, "You're this close to the fight, you need to stop training." He says, "You training more today is not going to have you fight better tomorrow." He says, "Your body needs to rest and recover." So I made myself do that. And when I saw his performance, I thought maybe one of the mistakes, outside of him walking into the left hook that dropped him against Bakram, could have just been a mistake of overtraining. I saw in the locker room, I wanted to approach him and shake his hand and say good luck to Tim before his fight. He had a beehive of people surrounding him that made it impossible for me to get into his space. So I respected that demeanor there, but I felt like it was overwhelming. So I think maybe in America, whatever Tim Tszyu's team was doing, I think he just might have had too many people around him. He could have simplified how he approached his training camp and rest, his recovery, to optimize his performance. But obviously, I'm having a comeback fight. He's having a comeback fight. I wish him the best of luck, because I do have sights on sharing the ring with him later this year.
Just the last one, Gervonta Davis, Lamont Roach on the weekend. Thoughts on that?
Didn't see it. Got all the feedback. Looking forward to watching it. But, people say Tank didn't really win. They got the majority draw, which means it had to be a close fight, maybe a tough one to call. At the end of the day, when it's a draw like that and an action-packed fight, run it back. I'm pretty sure the fans will watch it one more time.
Should they have called it a knockdown in round 9?
I didn't get to see it, but my one coach said no. A lot of on-takers say yes. I want to watch how it occurred, because technically when you take a knee, it's very unfortunate, but if there was some outside factor that did get into his eye, I don't know. You're walking on a gray line, and that's when things aren't necessarily black or white. So it's a tough call, and you don't want one little decision to change the whole fight. But in sports, sometimes it is one thing that a referee does or a judge does that determines who wins and loses. So luckily for him, he did not have such a scenario, because obviously the fight was close enough that if the point was deducted, he would have walked away not world champion. So I'm looking forward to looking back at all the drama.
Nice one. Thanks, Kev.